Hey, this is Dave from metalepidemic.com. Thank you for checking out our YouTube video. Please feel free to hit the subscribe button below if you like this type of content, and we hope you enjoy the review. What's up guys, Dave here from Metal Epidemic, back with another album review. And for this review, Duncan Kyle and I have been checking out the new album from French hardcore quintet, Worst Doubt. Physical copies of the band's new album Extinction will be released on April 16th via BDHW Records, while the album is available now on all digital streaming platforms. These guys have been active since around 2014 and return with their full-length debut album Extinction after releasing 2 EPs to date. The album was produced in 2019 at Chateau Vergogne by Maxime Smadja and mastered by Brad Boatwright at Audio Sage Studios.
Of course.
Yes.
Boat right, boat wrong. I love the name of the studio though. Well, that's what makes France so classy. It's not just like Studio 54. It's Chateau Saint Dix. I don't know. I don't know what that was. 553. I don't know.
Could be.
I have no idea. I can't speak French.
Is not my first or second
Really,
language.
you can't speak French? I could never have told.
How dare you? Femme la bouche, Kyle. Femme la bouche. I mean, shut your filthy whore mouth. Filthy whore up in there. Because I'm assuming it's just filthy whore. I don't know. Yes, worst out. I'm going to apologise to these guys because we did a reaction video, and when we did the reaction video, the beginning of this whole we did reminded me of "Don't you forget about me," and I actually, without thinking, I actually sang that a little bit, and to their credit, they commented, filling in the blanks. So much love to our French brethren.
Yeah, and on the reaction, we did say we were pretty keen to hear the rest of the album. We all were pretty psyched about that track we listened to, which was the title track, I think. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, that track was a pretty good indicator of what to expect from this album. This is the type of hardcore I can get behind, gentlemen.
What, 10 songs in 25 minutes? Yes, Duncan can get behind this 100%.
Yes, absolutely. I've been listening to hardcore since the 90s. So the style and the tone of this band really appealed to me. I'm a big fan of bands like Turmoil, Kickback, Cro-Mags, All Out War, a lot of which came from the kind of New York hardcore scene. And there's a big part of Worst Doubt's sound plays homage to the bands of that 90s hardcore scene. Yeah. So from a nostalgia point of view, I loved every single second of this. It still has this real like hostile streak to it as well, but it kind of oozes the characteristics of that era. It takes no prisoners. It is aggressive. It is in your face, and they kind of wear their influences like on their sleeve. But at the same time, though, I don't feel like it's out of date in any kind of way. It's still. You can hear kind of more modern influences coming through on this at times as well. Bands like Trapped Under Ice or King 9, who still very much lean into that kind of New York hardcore vibe, but it sounds like more contemporary. I think part of that comes down to the production of the album. I think it's a really good mix of kind of old and new. You can hear some of the qualities of those kind of like 90s records, like in the production, especially the kind of ambience of the album. But it has a kind of modern coating to it as well, especially in the guitar tone and the kind of punch of the drums, which kind of gives it this like really kind of heavy impact. For me, on like first listen to this, I thought this is relatively straightforward, jacked 90s hardcore, to be honest. And I suppose a lot of that kind of statement is true on Extinction, but I think it was on the repeat listens that I kind of realised there are a lot of kind of small kind of subtleties on this album that do elevate it to the next level. Just little moments that kind of make you smile, you know, and go, that was clever, that was good, I like that. Their transitions in particular between like the tempo changes and the kind of switch up and the riffs are really well done, really well executed. Like way better than you'd expect from a band that are putting out their debut album. You know what I mean? This sounds really accomplished. Like it's from a band that are. It sounds like they're like long in the tooth, if you know what I mean. They're very good at knowing when to switch things up. Like I didn't feel there was a moment on this at all that like I was bored or thought like this riff is really dragging or something like that. And like similarly to that, they also play a bit with little bits of melody now and again as well. We had little bits of it on Extinction. We did the reaction video, but it's not the only time they can weave in some like nice lead work or like even just like emphasizing a chord by like playing every single note in it. Despise Death I thought was a really good example of kind of both of those things. It has that kind of Cro-Mags melody kind of infused through it, but at the same time the rest of it feels like you're being curb stomped. I need to mention Path of the Blind though, because not only does it absolutely rip as a track, like it has a bit of a kind of Turmoil feel to it on some of the kind of rhythms especially, but I am 99% sure I heard a tambourine on that track. I'm absolutely convinced there's a tambourine playing. It's fairly subtle, but the more and more I listened to it, I was like, that is definitely a tambourine, and it kind of adds this little bit of kind of emphasis to the rhythm and the groove of the track, which I just totally loved. So I applaud your use of one of the most unused instruments in metal.
One of the most unused instruments, unless you are younger than 12. And then everyone gets it. If you're younger than 12, that's the instrument you learn at school when you can't play fuck all. Here, tambourine, have a tambourine, make noise.
Yep.
Yeah. that and the mighty triangle.
Yeah. Crushed. There's a track on it called Crushed as well, as some of the best breakdowns on the album. That was a highlight for me, just absolutely punishing. And Hugo, the vocalist, he just sounds really pissed off, really menacing on that track. But his tone just suits this sound absolutely down to the ground. I loved it. I mean, there's not like crazy amounts of variation in his tone and stuff, but it just works. It just fits. If you hadn't guessed already, I really enjoyed this. This is like 25 minutes of unrelenting hardcore. The only criticism I could make is that it's not anything I haven't heard done before, but it's done extremely well. And if you are kind of longing for a hit of that sweet 90s hardcore, then this is the fucking album for you. Big Davey out, mic drop. Duncan, what did you make of this?
I'm going to echo a lot of what you said, minus in the 90s I was big into hardcore, because I wasn't. There's a whole lot to love about Worst Out. I think you were touching on it at the end there. One of the big things that I think really worked for me is the vocals, and it's something I don't spend a lot of time talking about when you speak about hardcore albums. It's I mean, the vocalist in a hardcore band is basically the standard bearer rallying call for people to get busy in a pit. That's essentially their job. No one sits down and profoundly remarks on hardcore lyrics, because they tend to be fairly generic and usually involve a bit of rebellion or a bit of unity. It's one of the two. They're kind of polar opposites. His tone is absolutely fucking perfect. I mean, I loved it. It's a bit deeper in resonance than you would usually expect from a hardcore vocalist, which usually aim for the more mid-range. But it works so well, which is surprising because they're not detuned in any way. Like, guitars aren't punishingly like low or anything like that at all. So it surprised me how well it worked. They've got really good use of gang vocals as well. They really hold back on that and don't overuse it, which is a pet peeve of hardcore in mine, just in general, because you can almost, it's a box ticking exercise. You use them quite cleverly on here. The guitar work is excellent. The guitar tone is brilliant. It's crunchy. There's a really nice crunch sound. It's two steps away from being very similar to what you would expect from kind of like a thrash guitar tone. It's about in the same kind of resonance. Works really well, which I think when they do the tempo changes, they flirt every now and again with a little bit of thrash, but don't go full into it. I think those tempo changes work really well. What was interesting for me is I feel like the album itself doesn't really find its stride until Extinction. It feels like it's building up to that track, and once that track lands, and this is not a dig at them at all, I like the way it escalates up. As soon as Extinction hits in, it's like, right, this is the tone and groove for the rest of the album. Strap yourselves in. It's perfect length. The songs you were talking about not really getting bored. That's because none of the songs are over 3.5 minutes long.
Yeah.
Which I think is a key to this. It avoids it being repetitive. It gives the songs a good sense of structure. Allows them to be a bit more playful, but at the same time without going too off-piste. So all that works surprisingly well. There's not a lot. I know what you're saying. Like when you're saying that if you were trying to lob a criticism at it, it's nothing that you've heard before. But I think sometimes bands feel the need to try and add something in, and that extra element is the thing that ultimately becomes the undoing of it.
True.
I'm not going to say they've played it safe. They clearly have, in the 7 years they've been together, even though this is their album, they've honed their craft right down. They've got the songs fucking right and tight, and they put out a release which, front to back, if you like this music, there is absolutely no way this doesn't tick all the boxes. And as someone who enjoys dabbling in it every now and again, there's a whole hell of a lot to love in here. Yeah, I thought this was really good. Really, really good.
Nice. My man Kyle, what did you make of Washed
Dream
Out
Killer.
and Extinction?
I like the riffs and the song structures and everything, and I thought each song was the exact length it needed to be, if not a bit too long for my tastes. But no, I thought a lot of it was really good, and I liked too long a little bit. But I mean, we'll get to that. Okay. After the reaction video we did, I was quite interested in listening to it, but I mean, listening to the whole EP album, I mean, it's EP length, but I know it's more than 6 tracks, right?
Yes.
But I mean, I was like, by the end of it, I was like, oh, I don't really want to go back to it. And I think the key to it was the vocalist. I really love the guitar tone, and I really love the drums and everything else. It was produced really well, but I think the vocalist's, like, the way he sounds on the album, it's kind of got some reverb on it. It sounds like he's an old man groaning in the back. And I was like, oh, I think it really turned me off, the whole thing.
The vocals are very 90s produced. Sound very 90s hardcore.
I think that was it. And I'm just like, oh man, no. Oh, it started off so good, but as soon as he started with his vocals, I was like, So, unfortunately, I was just like, I couldn't get past it. I really couldn't. I tried listening to it, and the riffs are cool as hell.
Yeah.
Fire the vocalist. No, I mean...
Hugo's my bro now.
I liked his voice.
Yeah, next time I'm over wherever they are.
That's the thing. The sound of his voice and the tone of it works really well. It's just the production was like, couldn't get past it. Just couldn't. Really sorry. I tried so hard to like it because I liked all of the rest of it, but just that one thing grated on me so much, and I was like, oh, no. But you're right about everything else. I can't really comment on anything else. It was really well done. They know exactly what they're doing and what they want to be, and they can do it really, 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 really well. Yeah. And of course, like you said, it's nothing we haven't heard before. But I mean, it doesn't need to be anything you haven't heard before when they do it this well. So I mean, if I could have like a reproduced version of the album, I would listen to that. But
then I think it would lose a lot of that kind of authenticity if you did that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're going more towards a kind of modern hardcore sound. Where I don't know if that would suit this band.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah,
and to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of hardcore anyway.
You couldn't insert like a Jamie Jasta in a band like this. I think it would ruin it.
No, I don't think so.
I think it'd completely ruin it. I think the part of the charm of it, I think, is the fact that there is that kind of modern feel to production, but it doesn't sound so removed from the scene that they're clearly influenced by.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what they want to sound like. And fair play to the producer. The producer has said that's what they want to sound like. That's how the singer wants to sound, and I will give them that. I suppose that's
they've nailed what they wanted to do.
Yeah,
just for my personal taste, it didn't hit home with me.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's a live by the sword, die by the sword thing. You know what I mean? Like if it's something that is a turn off to you, then it's all over the album. You can't escape it.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Unfortunately, I loved all the rest of it. I was like, the riffs are super cool, and I really did enjoy them. And I was like, in my seat, but I just couldn't get past the vocal start. Not him or the vocalist, but just production. I just couldn't get past it. I tried so hard. Ah, well, you win some, you lose some.
Can you imagine this live though? Imagine seeing this band
That would be
live.
fucking incredible, and I would be the first in the front row to see this band live, and I'd probably leave after their set.
Okay, worst out Extinction. What are we thinking on the ratings for this album? I love this. I really did. I love this album. It's right up my street. Love this type of hardcore. Love the sound, the production they went for. I'd say I'd probably go 4.5 on this. Quite a high one for me. Duncan, out of 5, what are you thinking?
I'm coming a 0.5 below you. It's a 4 for me. I think this is everything that from the track that we listened to a couple of weeks ago, everything I kind of hoped it would be, and it delivered on that. So yeah, definitely one that I'll go back to this year. Definitely a band that I'll be interested to see certainly where they go, and hopefully get a chance to check them out when venues are allowing bands to play again and people are being safe.
Yeah. It's such an easy album to listen to.
It's so easy.
One that
so
just,
easy.
I've listened to this loads since it came in. It's just, again, the runtime probably helps that with being 24 minutes or whatever, but yeah, it's so easy to listen to. Kyle, what are you thinking?
Personal tastes aside, everything else on this album was done super well, and they know exactly what they want to be, and they nailed it. So I'm going to come in with a 4 out of 5.
Oh,
really good, really well done. Just
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So as I said, the digital version of the album is out now. You can check it out on the usual digital streaming platforms. If you fancy a physical copy or a vinyl or something like that, it's out on April 16th on BDHW Records. I'll put any links I can to any pre-orders and stuff in the description below, as well as their Facebook, which is facebook.com/worstdouthc. Check them out. Let us know what you think. If you've heard the album, happy to hear your comments and opinions. Let us know. Thanks for checking out the review. Much appreciated. We'll be back with another review very soon, but until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.